dedicated to him. And I also think audiences are going to be surprised because they're going to be able to explore. They're going to see.
Well, I'll keep that up for the article, Cyrus. That's a significant development. Okay.
That we're going to explore her.
Oh wait, Voltaire's here. Thank you for joining me on short notice, Voltaire.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh no, that is significant. I know. Fans and not like my pal Brucifer, which I respect your opinion, Brucifer, but I think it's completely fair to be critical because it was the show was sold as the origins of this specific Mandalorian. I know you could play semantic games like, well, it's Mandalorian, it's not called the Djarin show. I understand that, but you can't actually say I'm going to say this. You can't say fans are toxic for saying that they're upset that the character that was introduced at the beginning of the series, it goes to someone else, you know?
It was definitely a change on purpose. I mean, I get Brucifer's point too, but this was definitely a change of course. There's no question about it.
And and as far as I could tell, Pedro Pascal was not present at Star Wars Celebration, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know the behind-the-scenes stuff, but if the stories are true that he's a complainer and difficult, does it really surprise you that they start to kind of move it away from him?
Well, I don't even consider him difficult. I just understand there's really nothing for him to do on the show. Even through the voice modulator with his mask, there's not much of him to flex his acting ability. Now that he's gone back to the Living Waters and This Is the Way.
Mm-hmm.
It actually kind of seems very credible that he took his helmet off. That was the rumors that he kind of wanted to, and then in this season they're like, no, you're going to get rebaptized in the Living Waters, and then you're going to have the helmet on all the time again.
Yeah, I don't care for his complaints about it. He took the role. You know what I mean? Nobody was asking for him before this.
I will tell you this. When I started doing live streams, I thought I was going to wear masks and helmets all the time. I have a big collection. And then I started doing it, and it's really hurts your entertaining abilities. It's really hard to perform in a helmet all the time.
Yeah.
It really
Seven-figure paycheck makes it a little bit easier, though, right?
Yeah. But I can understand. Like, it's...
Yeah.
That's why, like, in Book of Boba Fett, he took the helmet off. That's why... In Halo, Master Chief has the helmet off a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and I agree. Look, if he wants to expand his acting roles and that kind of thing, I mean, look, he's what he's doing now. I mean, I get it. He doesn't want to do it as much anymore. But I've said in your chat before, I think that the compromise was you don't have to show up on set. It's basically voiceover work.
Here's my biggest clue is that Pedro Pascal's on his way out.
I agree.
The going to the Living Waters to go back into the way. And then having Bo-Katan take her helmet off and saying she could do either. That is the biggest clue as to the future of his character. Because he has to keep it on now and she doesn't.
And he gave up the Darksaber like it was nothing. He has no interest in all that kind of thing. So, this is the way they've written it. So,
yeah. So, listen, either way, Brucifer, I'm okay with it. I understand. I really think Pedro Pascal is going to be very limited. They maybe made a new contract. You just do the voiceover. We'll do all that. You know, you just say these few lines. You know how few lines he has?
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce, as far as expanding the story, I get it. And they are. But don't you think that when they started this thing out that he was they were gearing it towards him being the uniter of the Mandalorians, right? That's the way it looked, at least, right? And that's completely gone, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's, Bo-Katan. If you were going to pick one, if you could only pick one, who was the biggest character arc in this season?
Oh, it's Bo-Katan.
Yeah, no
question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, he didn't even see that mythosaur down there. She's like, "Hey, did you see anything down?" He's like, "No, I didn't see anything." So that was pretty obvious. It's her arc.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear what the rest she has to say, and then we'll look at the article.
background more, and that's really cool. That's really exciting because a lot of people are like, "Who is she? Where does she come from?" And so,
Actually, no offense. She seems like a nice lady, but I'm not really interested in her character much. So, no offense, no offense. I want to get to the article. That was the last interview. All right, let's bring up the IGN article. No, and I have things to do.
No, you got the most important.
All right. So, Mandalorian producer confirms Din Djarin is no longer the only main character. We're all the Mandalorian. I think this is it's all subjective, but I think this is spin and damage control after things that have happened behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they I would think a writer's brain would like, well, how can we spin this towards the positive? Well, we're all the man. This seems very marketing. It just feels like it. Oh, this went through the marketing. This is the narrative that we're going to put out there, right? Doesn't it feel like that to you?
100%. And look, they're acknowledging no longer the only main character.
Yeah. So they have options, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have options. No, there's nothing wrong with it, Brucifer. I think you might be misinterpreting our take, me and Voltaire, and I don't have it. I love Bo-Katan. She's kicking ass this season, right?
Yeah,
I love her arc, but it doesn't seem, in my opinion, like that was the original plan. If they can make it work, they can make it work. I'm not going to stop watching.
You know what? If he's being difficult, what do you want them to do? I think they handled it as best they could, quite honestly.
Yeah. And Katie Sackhoff is a team player. She's not worried about. As a fan of Katie Sackhoff for so many years, I watched her in Battlestar Galactica. I watched her Pitch Black. I watched her she was in a show called Longmire. She is a team player. She's going to do whatever. I mean, there were some lines that she delivered with a straight face in this last episode that were freaking cringe. She is going to do it. She's going to, because she's a team player. Pedro Pascal is in a different league. And she is going to be front and center at every event that you want, Katie Sackhoff, because she is in nerd culture. She is ingrained in nerd culture, and it could be a benefit to focus on her, really, because she's not going to be, as far as I know, she's not going to have a major HBO Max series or thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And she's well cast and she's doing good. And I didn't watch her on Battlestar Galactica, but when I saw Bo-Katan and live action, I said, "Oh wow, she's perfect."
Well, Scipio, but what if they didn't have a choice? Pedro Pascal's like, I really want to limit my availability on what you're doing here. I'm not, he's under contract. They're kind of phase him out. At one point you might, what? Who the hell knows if Pedro Pascal is even doing the voiceover anymore now that ChatGPT? Seriously, do you even need him anymore?
No, but look,
you don't even need him anymore.
Yeah, and Darth Sidious, I'm not. I far be it from me to be a Disney Star Wars apologist. I'm not, but I think this was more Pedro's doing than Disney's doing.
Yeah,
it's what they had to do.
He got other opportunities, and probably they didn't. When they signed him up, I'm assuming it was probably for a certain type of contract. They probably have to renew it. He might not want to renew it, just like Henry Cavill didn't want to renew it after 3 seasons of The Witcher. 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, they would have had to renegotiate. They weren't going to sign him for 5 seasons right off the bat. They didn't know Mandalorian was going to take off.
And Cavill's a good example. I think Cavill wanted to do it under certain circumstances with certain levels of control.
Right. And so this is probably similar to the Cavill situation, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you could have done a replacement like they did with The Witcher, or because it's a helmet. There's lots of things. Pedro. They could probably make an agreement with him to just use ChatGPT, and not even, you would never even know because it's done through a filter, and he talks so slow and stoic. He doesn't have a lot of expression in his voice on the show. You don't need it. Okay,
well, he doesn't in general. I mean, he did in Game of Thrones, but in Last of Us, he doesn't have a lot of expression either, does he?
No, I mean, he's a great actor, but he's not he doesn't do a lot of emoting through his voice. Yeah. Okay, but this is going to be a significant development for critics. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay. The Mandalorian began as a show about Djarin and Grogu. Let me see. Executive producer Rick Famuyiwa has addressed those questions in an interview with IGN, and yes, the fans are right to question it. Turns out the titular Mandalorian is no longer considered to be just Din. I think that's been interesting as we've been on the journey of the show, and now we're at this point, is that what does the title mean? Famuyiwa told IGN. And he's taken over as the Famuyiwa. I saw another interview with him. He's kind of taken over this season more so since Filoni was working on Ahsoka at the time, right? I mean, there's still involvement, but Famuyiwa is really taking up a lot. I think now that Bo possessing the Darksaber, I knew that there's a lot of expectations that might have shifted in both in terms of what does that mean for Din Djarin, but also for Bo. What does it mean, he continued? Who is the Mandalorian at this point? And I think this has gone through a filter of marketing.
Heck yeah.
This is
written by the PR department.
Yeah. And so I think it could be anyone. If they're saying this, get ready for it. And I think that's what we're trying to define in many ways, is what does that mean to be Mandalorian? I think they're going out of their way to explain it away. As mentioned by Famuyiwa, the latest episode of The Mandalorian saw Din literally step to one side and literally pass the mantle to Bo-Katan as she took the Darksaber and stood ready to unite the Mandalorian people. We gave the episode a 6 out of 10 in our review, saying things get very silly at episode 6 of season 3. The Mandalorian as Bo-Katan and Din play good cop, bad cop on the planet ruled by Jack Black and Lizzo. Never thought I would read that. Jack Black and Lizzo. But yes, that is the part of the episode that I really didn't like, is that we knew that Bo-Katan was going to get the Darksaber, right? In this season, but I thought it was going to be something more epic than, you only deserve this already? Here you go. And step aside. It was a literal step aside moment beyond the silliness of the actual episode. You know, it was literally, even IGN is saying it was a literally step aside moment, right?
I feel like they could have written that better. I get what they were doing there, but you're right.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but it wasn't epic. The Darksaber, season 2 when they were fighting with the Darksaber, that was epic, right?
Yeah.
So the scenes where she was fighting with the Darksaber to save Din was cool. And if they were going to do that, then he should have said, you keep it. You earned it,
100%.
In my opinion, that would have landed better than in retrospect. Well, and then they're like, this is the way. Did they even say that? I don't know. I don't know. They're like, well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. And why? It's an interesting choice, because after she saves him and he says, you saved my life, I'm indebted to you forever. They could have thrown in a nice line there saying, and this, you deserve this more than me. You just saved me, blah, 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 And it would have actually made her arc a little better, I think, if he had gone back to the Zealot Mandalorians with that idea in tow. But whatever. We don't write the show.
Yeah. So listen, everyone, if you're happy, more power to you. But we gotta be fair to critics. There's people that signed up wanting Din Djarin's arc, and it does seem like that has been sidestepped. There's 2 episodes left. Katie Sackhoff was on an interview saying, I can't believe how much we filmed, that there's only 2 episodes left. That means that the last 2 episodes most likely will be significant, But I'm okay with the Bo-Katan Mandalorian show. I am. Me personally. Yeah. But Voltaire, you have some criticism of that for sure.
Only because Pedro is being a problem, I forgive it. I sincerely believe this is Pedro's doing. This wasn't their plan. And this is a good secondary plan, in my opinion. So what are they going to do?
It's almost gives me that like anticlimactic when you hand the lightsaber to Luke. I'm like, I want these to be really like, remember Last Jedi, where it's like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, these are epic things in this universe. These sabers, You know, and nothing should be more epic than even Luke's saber. The dark saber is like so significant, and then just say, okay, you kind of earned it. I thought that was kind of a letdown to me.
Right.
It was totally epic. The way he reached over and handed her the dark saber was riveting. Then he stepped away, and I was like, whoa, just amazing. I also fainted. I had to go lie down. I thought it was a great scene. Yeah, Mass Vigilante Ray is coming back.
100%.
Oh, here we go, Dark Omancer. I signed up for the Mandalorian, not the woman Lorian. Oh God, that I heard them saying that. I saw an erotic video. Oh boy,
they need content, you know. So it's interesting though. They haven't announced anything for Favreau at this thing, right?
No, I noticed that too, Voltaire. Where is the Favreau announcements? What's he's doing?
They didn't announce another season of The Mandalorian or a new show called The Mandalorians.
Yeah,
he's not directing one of these films, you know. So what are we doing here?
Can I be real?
Yeah,
I kind of think he's doing Kathy's job somewhat.
Behind
the scenes.
Oh boy,
is that bad to say?
No, it makes sense with how he was there, and he seems very enthusiastic when he's.
Favreau is kind of like doing what Kathy should be doing.
Oh boy, that's you're getting into Doomcock territory.
No, I mean, I think Iger put him there. I know everyone's going to say Kathy deserves it. I think Iger called his boy. He helped him out with the first Iron Man. He helped him out with. Actually, did they make that before? I don't know. They helped him out with the Lion King and the Jungle Book. He's done a lot of things for Disney, and he's kind of like he's there all the time. He's kind of like to an equivalent. He's kind of like the James Gunn and Peter Safran. Like Peter Safran's there, you know, but James Gunn's making talking. He has great relations with all the talent. I think Favreau is kind of doing the Kathy job. That's my opinion.
Fascinating. Or like a co-chair type of thing is what you're saying unofficially.
Such a cringe take.
I think he's talking about the Womalorian.
Oh. Who's Kathy Kennedy? President Lucasfilm. Well, thank you, Voltaire. Go because I have some errands to run. It's 3:00.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, everyone. I'll be streaming again later. Some great news. Official Thrawn. Some cast interviews. So I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.